How's it, Bills fans? Lance Nelson here, president of Built in Buffalo. To my left, Scott Casson. To my right, Benjamin Shoop. The rubber is going to meet the road. Finally, we're in the real season here. The playoffs have started, and the Bills will look to go 4-0 and win a Super Bowl. What's up, Shoop?
Oh, nothing much. Yeah, getting ready. It's great 4 days of football. These next 4 days, actually 5, because you got Monday Night Football as well. Yeah, 5
Super
days
wild card weekend.
Football. Yeah, super
Can you
wild
read
card
us the
weekend.
schedule? Maybe it'll be as good as you reading the depth chart.
You got a great game tonight that I know Scott's excited for. He's literally jumping out of his seat for it. It's gonna be a great weekend of football, and hopefully the Bills can make it even better by moving on to the second round here.
Yeah, nothing like playoff football. We got the college football playoff tonight and tomorrow, right into the wild card weekend. Like we mentioned, we got the Bills Sunday at 1, and I am excited to talk about it. So let's get into it.
Yeah, let's first do a little reaction here. The Jets game, final regular season game at Highmark Stadium, the original, the Ralph Rich Stadium, New Era Field, whatever you want to call it, Bills Stadium, right, for a couple of years. Whatever you like to refer to it as. I really thought the cap was going to stick, but just didn't happen. So a little bit of a weird day, emotional day. The game meant nothing, but it was kind of exciting at the same time with the backups playing pretty well against whatever the Jets are to you. I don't know. I had a hard time getting into the football on the field. I don't know how you guys felt about it. Ben, you went to the game still, right?
Yeah. I thought.
How did you guys feel just sitting in the stands, I guess, when it comes to like the football aspect versus sort of the anticipation of closing out the last game in the stadium? What could be, the final game ever to be played there, or, this thing's not being tore down until March 2027. So I guess that's there's still room for if the new stadium gets delayed or something, maybe a preseason game's in there. But how did you feel just going through the game?
Well, first I'm going to say, Lance, there's a 0% chance that stadium is not ready for next season. That would the amount of hate that the Buffalo Bills and Terry Pagula would get if that stadium's not done. So trust me, it will be done.
I've seen construction projects before. I know how they go.
Well, yeah, but I would say that this is not exactly a normal construction process with the normal amount of money going into it. So, hey, who knows? Maybe there is something that happens that pushes it back. But I would just say, yeah, I think that they would have guys working around the clock before they even risk not having the stadium ready. But regardless of the point, not what the question was asked. For the game, at first, yeah, like I got in a little bit earlier than usual. Really no care for what was actually going to happen on the football field. But it ended up, I think, being one of those games where even when you were at it, it was because of how well the backups were playing. It did end up being really exciting. And yeah, I think that, it ended up being a weird game, obviously, with just, again, the backups, nobody really caring about if they actually win, but having them do what they did made it a lot better. I will say the Bills, I think, nailed just the overall day as a whole. And I do think it was actually better that this game meant nothing than a game that would have meant something that if they ended up losing, it would have been horrible. Obviously, if you have the starters playing against the Jets, probably similar outcome that you had. But, if it was any other opponent and it was a crucial Week 18 game and they ended up losing, I think the feeling would have been different for everybody. But yeah, it was emotional. It was awesome. I think for the players too, just to even have a week of just like, yeah, we're still on football. We're still, worried about the next 2 weeks and going into the playoffs, but it was able to have players relax and kind of just be able to take in that, yeah, this is the last game in the stadium and how much it meant to everybody in Bills Mafia.
Yeah, I mean, the game itself was rather boring. It was over from the kickoff, even with the Bills back up. The Jets wanted to lose, and the Bills didn't want to get anybody hurt, which they kind of succeeded at. No, but it was cool to be there. I found myself looking around more than normal, just kind of taking it all in, and the whole second half, you were just counting down to when the game was over because you knew there would be, honestly, most of the first half too. You knew there would be some kind of a, maybe like ceremony is not the word, but something at the end of the game. And nobody left, which was really cool. Which for a blowout game at the end is not normal. Like we were joking with the guys in my section, like, hey, let's just go running clock second half. Like, let's just get this thing over with. Because what was
I thought about like walking
weird.
up to you guys and going over to my other section because like I was in the club seats and I'm like, yeah, this is great for like nostalgia where I first began having season tickets in 2006. And actually Frank Taberski, who made the helmet that's on one of these shoulders. I don't know which side I'm at. It's backwards. This guy. Sorry. So the helmet that's there is from Buffalo Belia Sports and More. It's the Belia on Facebook now. And he was two rows in front of me. So I did kind of randomly know some people in my section, but I kind of still wanted to come up to where you guys were and had that same, nostalgia.
But yeah, I was just kind of like waiting for it to end to see, what they would do. And the product on the field wasn't great. So let's just get out of here and go on to the playoffs. But yeah, it was cool to be there. The Goo Goo Dolls little segment they did was nice. It was cool to see a couple of players stay out on the field, Reed Ferguson, Trey White, because you could tell what being a Bill and playing in the stadium meant to them. And it was cool that the team, like you could really tell they cared about it. Like they were hyping the crowd up after. Yeah. McDermott said like he kind of stopped coaching for a little bit and looked around. Like the team could easily be like, whatever, it's a building. It's not that great anyway. But you could tell that like they really cared about it and bought into it because the community cared so much about it. So hopefully it gives them some good momentum going into the playoffs.
Yeah, for sure. They did a bunch of jersey giveaways and stuff like that too. Like as the game started and everything. And they even, gave people who had certain numbers on the coin that were absolutely phenomenal as well. So just a lot of giveaways, I think they did it right. Like you said, they really got it right in sending off Bills Mafia from Highmark Stadium. I thoroughly enjoyed, all the different ceremonies. They had a little bit of pregame, a little bit halftime, and then the postgame stuff. I was looking for every excuse not to leave, but then also the club seats were handing out a poster, which I wanted. So I was like, I better go before too long before they run out of them because they always run out at the end. So, but Therese Fortin Barnes, the fan of the year from Water Buffalo Club 716 was in my section as well. So I was like taking their picture and doing whatever I could to kind of stay in the section and in the stadium without just, sitting in a seat and with a blank stare on my face, but just being active and feeling the crowd and all that stuff. It was surreal, man. I didn't really know what to expect as far as like what you feel internally, but it's definitely some moments where like it kind of gets you when you think about the levity of it, but then also snapping back to, hey, this new building is going to be great. And we're going to have a lot of great memories in that as well. And honestly, it's going to be even better than what the old stadium is now. So I'm not too sad about it because obviously we're getting an upgrade, but it still was obviously sentimental in some respects as well. So mixture, I was in a glass case of emotions, if you will, as Ron Burgundy said, but it was weird. It was a weird game to watch. Mitch Trubisky, I mean, the football on the field, let's get to that a little bit. Mitch Trubisky looked pretty good, got the MVP there. Speak a little bit on what you saw from Mitch, and is there going to be a quarterback controversy now?
I think there might have to be. Mitch was hot. He's the original MVP, and he won it again. So that means a lot to him. But yeah, Mitch was awesome. Again, the Jets were playing nobodies. He tried to throw him their first interception, but luckily Quincy Williams had a club on and couldn't actually catch it. But yeah,
I'm glad I was wrong about that one because we spoke last week on if he was going to do that, and I predicted he would, but luckily I was mistaken.
Yeah, he literally threw it right to Quincy Williams, and he just didn't have a hand, so he didn't catch it. But Yeah, no, Mitch was great, and that's the two times he really played this season. Also against the Jets earlier this year when he came in when Josh broke his nose and threw that dot on third down. I think it was to Elijah Moore, R.I.P. And so, yeah, it's a nice luxury to have a backup quarterback like Mitch Trubisky, who can come in a spot and really perform. You know, is he going to lead a team to the Super Bowl? Probably not. But if you need him for a week or for a snap or for something, you can trust him. And he's a free agent after this season, so it'll be interesting to see if they choose to bring him back because he seems to like it here. They seem to like having him here, and he's friends with Josh, which is requirement number one of being a Bills backup quarterback.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't really have too much to talk about when it comes to any of the performances or anything. One, because it was the Jets, and we've seen the multiple, countless numbers and statistics that were thrown out about this year's Jets team that, yeah, they may have 3 wins, but they're one of the worst teams we've seen in the NFL. But yeah, I mean, it was awesome to see them play, to see Mitch play well. Yeah, I mean, we'll see if he comes back next year, if he gets an offer elsewhere, or what happens with him. But yeah, I mean, it was probably awesome for him as well to be able to go out there and have a good game.
Yeah, I liked the way that the offense flowed, and he seemed to sort of run it efficiently. So it was nice to see all the success they were having. Maybe more passing yards on the day than most people would have thought before the game. Thought maybe we'd see just handoff after handoff, but they mixed in the pass nicely. And it was good to see Kincaid get a few receptions, even though nobody wanted him out there on the field and things like that. So it was nice to see. I was interested to see maybe what Keon Coleman or Josh Palmer could do with Mitch, but it was, wasn't anything spectacular, and it was nice to just see things operating. So, yeah, that's really it. Now the big controversy that everyone's talking about on social media that I wanted to get everyone's thoughts on here, and Ben, you can go first, and you're going to have a good thought on this one, is Maxwell Hairston playing and getting hurt. Injuries are obviously part of football, but what were your thoughts on Maxwell Hairston being in the game at the moment and getting hurt? Obviously is unfortunate and unforeseen, but just give your thoughts on that whole situation.
Yeah, I we'll see. Obviously, I mean, there hasn't really been too much information that I've seen about how serious it is. I mean, I don't think it's anything that they
serious enough to keep him out of a playoff game. So
yeah,
it's not serious.
Yeah. There's I haven't heard anything about if they win this week, next week, anything like that. It's unfortunate. I know some people are upset that he was playing, whatever, but at the same time, they would 3 boundary corners going into that game. Like you should have thrown somebody else out there, thrown Keon Coleman out there. Yeah, that would have been cool and fun to see him out there. But at the end of the day, this is an NFL game, and these guys they're gonna put out who they're people at their actual positions, and he's a rookie. You want to get him snaps, even if it is in a meaningless game. You want to get him snaps. So I wouldn't have been mad, obviously, if they would have sat him. That would have been fine. But I'm also like, it's just unfortunate that he got hurt. I don't think it has anything to do with, they should have definitely sat him. This is on the coaches and everybody there. I mean, I think Max probably wanted to play as well. Like, you just gotta play him.
Yeah, they were playing the backups, and Max is a backup. So I don't like you said, I don't know who else people wanted out there. He was our first round pick, I know, and he has 2 interceptions this season on arm punts. I know, people have a skewed view of what Max Hairston is to this team because he's a first round pick.
100%.
Trey White has played exponentially better than him this season and is our second corner. And I truthfully don't know how much Max would have played this week anyway. Maybe 20-30% of the snaps, something like that. Like Trey White and Christian Benford are our 2 starting corners, and losing Max, we lost a lot of depth, and that's important. Now Dane Jackson was signed to the 53, which we'll touch on, and he's our depth corner. But they were playing the backups. Max Hairston right now is a backup. I don't know what else you wanted them to do. They put Isaiah McKenzie at corner a few years ago, and like that was fun, but like that's not super realistic. Like to put someone else out there, it would have been Brandon Codrington's time to shine if he was still on the team. I'll tell you that much. But yeah, like it's unfortunate he got hurt. Like it's unfortunate that anybody ever gets hurt in football, but the backups were playing, and he's a backup. That's kind of what it is. What it is.
Yeah, I mean, I think you liked my comment that said as much. I don't know if it was on Akeem's post on X or whatever, Scott, but like that's literally it. It's just like this guy's a backup right now, and he's going to play with the backup and with the backups. And I don't want to put a receiver at outside corner just because it's the last game. It's still an NFL game, and you don't want to put a safety at outside.
You're more likely
corner.
to get hurt doing that because they don't know what they're doing.
They have no idea. Yeah, maybe guys have, and you could have coached them up, in the week before to try to get them to be aware of what they needed to do. You're probably not calling anything exotic anyway, so it's like, hey, just go guard this area of the field or guard this man, whatever you want to say. But at the same time, it's not their position, and they're not going to get snaps there just for the sake of being like NFL people aren't scared of injury. They realize it's part of the game. They're not going to go doing things because they want to avoid injury at all costs. Like in some ways, yes, because obviously they sat certain starters, and that's one thing. But Max is a backup, and he played when the backups were playing. So that's just is what it is, and people might not like it, but it's unfortunate. It's an unfortunate event. Scott, do you want to run through real quick? Do you have off the top of your head? Looks like some guys did get some incentives during that game, though. Do you want to rattle those off for us real quick?
Yeah, there were the two big ones. Dawson Knox needed a touchdown for $100K. They got him that on the first drive. I think he needed a couple more catches for another $100K, which he got. And then Ty Johnson needed 2 touchdowns for I think it was $250K, and he got both of those. So those were the big ones they went out and got for guys. And that's something really cool that the Bills always do. They always try to get guys incentives when they can. Other teams don't necessarily do that. But you saw last year against the Pats, like Sam Martin had one for a punt down inside the 20. So they punted from like the plus 37 so he could get that. Like it's something that teams try to do for their guys, which is really cool. So we got some guys paid. You could tell they were trying to get Ty Johnson those 2 touchdowns. And I know he is on the injury report this week, but that's why I feel kind of confident about him playing, because he tweaked his ankle, then came back in and played the rest of the fourth quarter on that tweaked ankle. So hopefully it's not too serious. But yeah, it's always nice when you can get some guys paid.
For sure. All right. 7-1 Slicker of the Week, presented by 716 Barbershop on Broadway in Depew. TJ Sanders gets his first sack of his career, and I think the only sack in the game. So shout out to TJ Sanders. Congrats to the rookie getting his first sack of his career, and hopefully many more to come. Do you guys have anything to say about TJ Sanders, or you want to keep it rolling?
Not much.
Go TJ.
We'll see how he progresses.
Don't let this honor go to your head.
Way to go, kid. 7-1 Slicker of the Week. Yeah, Scott said it best. It's an honor for sure. It's playoff time, like I mentioned at the beginning of the show here, and this is a great question Scott posed in the outline. I sort of like the way it's phrased, and I want to hear your guys' answers before I give mine. Scott, do you think the Bills have a switch to flip here in the playoffs?
We better hope so, to be honest with you, because it kind of feels like, especially on offense, they didn't want to do anything kind of too crazy. We heard more times than people would like to remember, vanilla offense, vanilla game plan. So I would hope that they do. It definitely seems like Brady's been saving stuff the second half of the year. Against the Eagles especially, we saw a lot of plays that they'd already run. And then on defense, I would guess that the switch that will be flipped is just playing guys more on the D-line. McDermott always likes to rotate his guys, but playoff time, like it's got to be Groot, Rousseau, Daquan, Dion Walker, TJ Sanders kind of insert there. Like we're not going to be able to we're going to see a lot less of some other guys, AJ as well, because he's had a solid season. So guys are going to have to play more on the D-line, especially secondary linebackers kind of are what they are. But yeah, I think offensively we're going to see some stuff that maybe they haven't run as much this season. Maybe they haven't run as much at all. I think Joe Brady's going to be a little bit more aggressive because he was in the playoffs last season. So if there's a switch to flip, we're going to find out on Sunday, and we hope it's there, but it's going to have to come on the offensive side of the ball and from Joe Brady. And Josh Allen said something this week in his presser about he did some self-scouting and just, taking what's there and playing smarter. And I think us as fans have been saying all season, there's been guys open on checkdowns and he tries to extend plays, or there's been guys open but he's tried to go for something bigger down the field, which is something he didn't do last season. So maybe it's a mental switch as well there, just being a little bit more locked in. He also mentioned that in the playoffs, every possession is important, where it is throughout the whole season, but especially in the playoffs. So you can't be stupid out there. So I think they're going to flip a switch. This team has had too much playoff success recently to not have a switch to flip. And I mean, you've seen it with the Chiefs in the past. It kind of looks like they coast through the regular season, and then it gets to the playoffs. They haven't scored 30 all season. They drop 32 on our heads. So that could very well happen. And if it doesn't, it may be a short playoff stint for us.
Yeah, I think it's mostly about not necessarily the Bills as a whole. I think it's individual people that need to flip that switch. Scott alluded to one, Joe Brady. Obviously Josh Allen needs to flip the switch. Like, yeah, it's really the big time players like Joey Bosa. I think needs to flip a switch this playoff run. Greg Rousseau, hopefully, if he can flip a switch. But like some of them, yeah, we'll need certain guys to step up. But I think it's going to be those names that you expect. Kincaid, if he's healthy and he can play, he's going to need to be there and going to need to be somebody to step up and really be kind of the main target there in the offense. So yeah, I think they have to, and I guess we'll see if they do have a flip that they can switch and or switch that I can't even speak right now. Lance caught that. If they can flip the switch and go ahead and make a run here. But yeah, I think it's more on individual people rather than everybody on the team. Yes, you'd like everybody to, but it has to be those main pieces on the team that have to really get going.
I think they're going to put their thing down, flip it, and reverse it. So is your flipping it from Randy at Nipple? I think that you have to think that Dalton Kincaid coming back is going to be a big part of this offensive change. We've already noted, Scott, I think you noted last week how big of a change, how big of the success difference there is when Kincaid is on the field versus off the field. So I think that helps them flip the switch in that they're going to be able to do more of what they want because all of their offensive weapons are available. I know Josh Palmer and Ty Johnson have 2 DNPs to start the week. Unfortunately, with the Thursday show, we don't really get the benefit of talking about game statuses because really the Friday practice is really going to dictate what happens for game status. So people can not practice the first 2 days in a week, especially veterans, and practice on Friday and be good to go. So if they're being cautious with these guys and resting them throughout this early part of the week and then get them a practice tomorrow, anybody has the chance to go after 2 DNPs, at least getting some sort of practice tomorrow. So I think the biggest switch to flip is that they're getting their people back and they're going to be able to do what they want. And you mentioned like some new things, but also what they've been building off on all of their different setups all year. They're going to be able to call those now, and sort of what they've put on tape. They ran the same play 29 times, then they run the play action off that. And now, right, and so those sort of things are all going to come to fruition where, okay, here's all the stuff we've been building up to, and it's the postseason. So now we're going to let it all hang out. I think I'd be very shocked if it's the same old thing that we've seen all season. You're going to see a little bit more of Shakir down the field that people have been talking about, and not just turning and throwing him a screen as the main way to use him. I think there's going to be different guys like that are moved into different positions and doing the things that maybe they didn't want to put on film too much in the regular season, but now they have it for the playoffs, and they can come out and do some different things that the other team's not expecting. I think everyone knows what this offense is capable of from last year as well, but from what they've shown this year, I don't think you haven't seen a lot from the Bills offense, and maybe by design, in my opinion. As silly as that is, I think they really got through the whole season with running this offense, and now they have a lot more to do. And the offensive line is going to have to dictate these playoff games for the Bills offense to tick. So I think we'll get into that soon, but I think those groups are going to have to really show out. And like you mentioned, that's sort of the players got to flip the switch there. Do you think it's now or never for this team as constructed? And also there's the narrative about Josh Allen being the one main quarterback in the AFC while Mahomes, Lamar, and Burrow are out of the playoffs. So is it now or never as for this team? And is it does it say anything about Josh Allen necessarily if the Bills don't get it done without those four quarterbacks or those three other quarterbacks in the playoffs?
No, and no. I get why people think this way. Like, I understand the thought of like, oh, if it's another year now that we're going to lose. We've been saying it for 4 years now that, oh, well, if we don't do it now, or if we don't do it this year, what if we never get the chance? And the whole Mahomes, Burrow, Lamar Jackson. I mean, Burrow hasn't been in the playoffs since what, 2022, 23? Like, it's been at least 2 years since he's been in the playoffs anyways, 3 years since he's been in the playoffs. So, like, let's get rid of him first. Lamar Jackson, the Bills have never lost to him in the playoffs. So, like, that wouldn't exclude it. Mahomes is the only one that I guess I would say, this is, if there's the year to do it, it'd be this year. But at the same time, I think these defenses that they're going to play are better than any defenses. Like Denver's defense, Jacksonville's defense, Houston's defense especially, are better than a lot of the defenses they played in the past 4 years in the playoffs. And it's still going, like, I failing to understand the process of, well, those three guys are out. It's got to be easier. Like the AFC this year, I think has some great teams. Yeah, the quarterback play might not be up or might not be there, but there's still great coaches. There's still great players. These are still great teams. These are still teams that beat everybody else in the league that got to the playoffs, and the Bills are a 6th seed. So like what? That's the part that to me is if they were the 1 seed, I'd say, yeah, you have to win it this year. It's your best chance. You got the bye for the first time. You finally get to go through Buffalo the entire time. But we're a 6th seed going up against, you're gonna have to go on away 3 straight times just to get to the Super Bowl. Like, this route is not just all of a sudden easier because those 3 quarterbacks aren't here. The experience for they might have the edge, but when it comes to actual team and being the NFL, I don't think it makes it easier. And I've been hearing it a lot this week about, oh yeah, well, this is the year, and the national media has pushed that heavily, that if the Bills don't get this done this year, it's going to be a colossal failure on the part of the entire organization. We've said that every year for the past 4 years, that it's a colossal failure that this team hasn't gotten it done. So it doesn't change anything to me. You got to get it done either way. And if you don't, then you got to go and see what's wrong and go and fix it. So I'm really just, I really hate the whole, if they don't get it done this year, it's all over. It's not over until Josh Allen retires or we start seeing major aggression from Josh Allen. So it's just get the job done. These teams are tough teams. I mean, this might be one of the most well-rounded teams that the Bills have played in the playoffs in quite some time, besides the Chiefs. But like well-rounded as good defense, can run the ball, can throw they can do it all, and we'll see what happens. But I really am just, I don't like the whole, oh, those 3 aren't in it. This has to be the year. This team is worse probably than any other Bills team in the past 4 years. And these defenses, I think, are better than a lot of the defenses, if not most of the defenses that the Bills have played in the playoffs.
So what the prompt says is it now or never for this team as constructed? And the answer to that is yes. If the Bills do not win the Super Bowl this season, regardless of who is in the playoffs, I don't care who's there because, like you said, it's hard to win no matter what. But this Bills roster, front office, coaching staff as constructed, yes. Like if they don't win the Super Bowl this year, changes will be made. I don't know if that means a coach is gone, but at the very least, coordinators will be gone. Changes will be made in Buffalo if they don't win this season, and it's probably time. Like coach, GM, who knows, coordinators at the very least. But if they don't win the Super Bowl this year, or at least make a deep playoff run, like something has to change. The team is too talented for the most part, and Josh Allen is just too good to keep failing. Essentially, what it is, because Super Bowl or bust, I understand, is not the best mindset, but that's really what it is. Like they've done everything else there is to do. Like at some point, you have to get it done. You
have
Connor
to at least make
McDavid,
the Super Bowl, right? I mean, this roster hasn't even made the Super Bowl.
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Like at some point, like you have to do it, or he's going to end up like Connor McDavid. People are going to say he can't win the big one. So those guys not being there, Mahomes, Burrow, Lamar, does that make it easier? In theory, yes, because quarterbacks are generally what win in the playoffs outside of, like the 2016 Broncos and the 85 Bears in the first Brady Patriots dynasty. Like quarterbacks are generally what gets it done, and we have the best one of those, especially in this tournament. But yeah, if the Bills don't win the Super Bowl this season, there will be major changes. How major that goes, I don't know. But at the very least, the coordinators, and at the very most, maybe even a coaching change. Like we saw the Ravens, they let go of John Harbaugh, who's won a Super Bowl there, not with this group, but he has won a Super Bowl there. And he was a rookie kicker making a 40-yarder away from going to the playoffs. And if he makes that kick, is he fired? Probably not. But unfortunately, that's showbiz. So sometimes the definition of insanity, trying the same thing over and over and expecting different results. And that's what this group has more or less done for the last 5-6 seasons. So they're not running it back the same way next year if it doesn't go down the way we want to this year.
Scott, I agree with everything you said except for the quarterback part to an extent. I agree with it. Yes, you need a good quarterback, but I think we've seen plenty of teams win a Super Bowl without elite quarterbacks. I mean, Ravens, is not elite. Manning won 2 of them. Nick Foles won 1. Jalen Hurts won 1.
Yeah, and like I said, good defenses win you Super Bowls every once in a while. But the fact that you can name the quarterbacks that it's been, most of those other times it's been the elite guys. Having the best quarterback in the tournament does not hurt you. So,
but unless your name is Brady or Mahomes,
is the Broncos defense good enough to carry them to the Super Bowl this year? I don't think so. Like none of the Texans defense, maybe, but it's not like any of these defense are historically good, as in that they're the best ever. And I guess we won't be able to say that unless one of them goes on and wins the Super Bowl. And I'm with you. I think it's stupid that they're saying this is the easiest path, because no path is easy. It's the NFL. But it doesn't hurt you that those guys aren't in there.
Right.
Like give me Josh Allen. And I know it's not like,
I don't know if they actually did, but did Denver break the sack record as a team?
I don't know, but they haven't been as good the past few weeks, and they're banged up.
Houston, I know, hasn't been as good. And two or 3 weeks ago, I was saying that Houston might be. I was saying 2 or 3 weeks ago that Houston might be the best defense I've ever seen in my lifetime. And then they.
Well, you were born in 2015.
But I mean, either way, I agree. Like I said, I agree with everything to an extent, except for that one small part, because I think we've seen plenty of teams without elite quarterback play win Super Bowls. And
I'm saying it helps when you have it.
It definitely does. But we've also seen a lot of elite quarterbacks never win one or only win one.
Are they
Dan Marino, never win one of the best.
Dan Marino, yeah.
StatMuse, for what it's worth, says the Broncos fell 4 sacks shy of the team sack record for a season. Scott, you didn't quite finish your thought there. Do you have a little bit extra to add to hammer your point home, or you want to move on?
All I was saying is that if the Bills don't win the Super Bowl this season, there's going to be changes. Like they're not going to run it back with the same coaching staff, the same philosophy, the same everything. And it's not an easy
guy
path,
we know told us that.
Yeah, like a guy we know did. So, as constructed, this will not be the same Bills team next season.
Yeah, I think we know like Joe Brady is probably not going to be here one way or the other, whether it's by him being fired or him taking another job. So I think that's a
Please
definite
don't hire
change.
him. He's such a good OC. We need him. Don't do it. Am I
But I
convincing
think
them?
that's an easy change to foresee. And then as far as the team itself, the 53, I got to imagine there's going to be some turnover as well. The receiver room's got to look different going into next season. And this is going to be a big offseason for Brandon Beane, assuming he's retained. I would not expect him to go, even if the Bills lose on Sunday, but maybe Terry Bigula feels differently. And I'll be interested to see if it's one or both of the GM and coach that would be moved on from should the Bills fall short again, especially if they lose on Sunday in the first round. So we'll have to see what the owner's thoughts on the regime are. And that'll be something I cannot foresee and I'm not going to project. So I think that you're right, Scott. It is going to change as constructed. This will be the last run at it for the team as constructed, like you mentioned, coaching, GM, staffs, and roster as well. I think you have to do some overhaul, especially offensively. Like I said, that wide receiver room's got to look different going into next year, in my opinion. Let's get some housekeeping stuff done before we get to the, offense and defensive preview. Even though we've already mixed in some of this stuff, we'll go through our formal topics there. Dane Jackson to the 53, Jordan Phillips to IR, and then the injury report's fairly long. I'm not going to read it off fully, but Terrell Bernard didn't practice either day. Maxwell Hairston didn't and has been ruled out for the game. Damar Hamlin coming back off of IR, getting his window opened and logging 2 limiteds. Ty Johnson did not practice either day, but as Scott said, he kind of played in the game through it, and we'll see what happens with Ty Johnson tomorrow as far as game status. Josh Palmer, 2 did not practices this week. We'll see again his status tomorrow's practice. Shaq Thompson limited in both sessions, and then Matt Prater did not practice yesterday but was full today, so hopefully that means he's healthy enough to go, and we know he wants to go. So give us your thoughts if you have much on injury report or Dane Jackson to the 53 with Jordan Phillips heading to IR.
Only real thought I have is they better pick a kicker who's not going to get hurt midway through the second quarter, because Prater said he was good to go Sunday, and then he wasn't. They brought in that other kicker, Maddox, as John said, who has kicked in the league this season, has made kicks. So we have him on the practice squad if they need him. But if they dress Prater and he tweaks this in the second quarter, you can't have a playoff game without a kicker. So he better be 110% or whatever you are at 41 years old if he's going to kick on Sunday.
He ain't good as he once was, but he better be good as he was once, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's what Toby Keith said.
Almost there. Got it.
Yeah, I've even seen people throwing out, do you just make 2 active? Like
I thought that as well.
Like it could be a possibility if they're like, hey, Prater, we just want to be extra cautious because you said you were good last week, but we want to roll with you. Like, I think you either roll 2 out there and have 2 on the active game day roster and sacrifice something. I don't know who you would sacrifice in this scenario. Or you just let Matthew Wright kick. Like I think.
Yeah, Matthew Wright. I misspoke there. Yeah. Matthew Wright.
Maddox was signed to a reserve future contract, I believe.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Too many kickers. Too many kicker talk in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, we've had 5 kickers signed this year on the roster in some form, whether it's practice squad, reserve, or
4 punters.
4 punt, but either way, like I said, I just either run 2 or run right out there. Like I don't want to figure a scenario where you tie the game and you need the extra point and you either have to trot Ray Davis out there or you have to go for 2. Like it'd be a sick story if Ray Davis went out there and sent us to the next round. Like that'd be awesome. That'd be a crazy story. But my heart would be pounding watching Ray Davis trot out there or whoever your backup is. So I think, yeah, either trot 2 of them out there or just have Wright be the kicker. Like,
Go back to the days of the Rex Ryan days, kickoff specialist. Figured out a way to dress 3 kickers then.
Yeah, I do it. I don't like that's fine.
Yeah,
I don't have a ton of thoughts on the whole injury report, and obviously Dane Jackson gives you a nice floor of a outside corner if we need him. Hopefully we don't need him, but if he does need to play, we know what we're getting in him, and there's trust there at the minimum. And then, like I said, with the injury report, I want to see what happens tomorrow. And, that's when you can really gauge. A lot of guys cannot practice the first 2 days and then log something on Friday and still go. There are mostly veterans here that we're talking about. So people that have a very good understanding of what the Bills want to do on a week-to-week basis and can jump in and take the practice snaps they need on Friday and get ready to go. So I did want to pull up really quick Miguel Pinto's comment. I feel good about having to beat the Jags, and the Denver comment is yet to be seen. They're going to have to play a game as well, and we'll see how that rolls out.
Not necessarily.
Yeah, we could play them in the second round, but it's not guaranteed that that's the case, and we'll see how it plays out. So, if that's the case, then I still feel good about it. Either way, Trevor Lawrence hasn't proven anything in the playoffs. Won 1 game, maybe 2, and Bo Nix has not just 1, yeah, and Bo Nix has not proven anything. So it's not all about quarterbacks, but for me, I'm gonna play the quarterback card here. We've got the best one in the dance right now, and I'm rolling with that. What do you guys think?
I mean, this Jags team scares me. Denver really doesn't. Like, I've just seen them win 10-7 against the Raiders and barely be able to put offensive points on the board. But the Jags, to me, I know that they don't have like the history of winning playoff games the past few years, but with what Cohen has done with this team, from what I remember, it had some turnover, and they added, Jacoby Myers and Travis, but it's not a ton of turnover. They have made a trade for, I believe, with the Browns they swapped corners, but there's a lot of guys that, are that same core. And for him to take a 4-win team to all of a sudden being a 2 seed this year and what they've done, especially the last few weeks. And I know people want to talk about who they've beaten or what their schedule was or who they've won in the past few weeks. It's still, it's the NFL. We've seen teams obviously this year lose to teams they shouldn't have. And especially that game against Denver when they put up, what was it, 40, 43, 45? They put up a terrific game against Denver. So, yeah, that team is the one that makes me nervous. Denver, if we play them next week, which it's more likely than not if the Bills win, they don't really scare me.
I don't really feel like any type of way about it, honestly. Like, it's the playoffs. You have to beat good teams. Like, every week they're going to play a good team, and they're going to have to beat them. So it could be Jacksonville, it could be Denver, it could be the Monstars. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, every team the Bills are going to play is a good team. So to be honest with you, I feel a lot better about Jacksonville and the Broncos than I did about the Ravens and the Chiefs last year, if we're just being honest. But it's the playoffs. You play good teams every week. So it doesn't matter who it is. Just anywhere, anyone, any place, anytime.
Well, Scott, thank you for your candor. Appreciate that. All right, guys, if you haven't done so, please like and share this episode. Head on over to the YouTube channel, if you would, Built in Buffalo on YouTube, and subscribe to that YouTube channel and get into the chat over there on YouTube, or head over to Facebook, get into the chat there too. If you're on X, like and repost, and on Facebook, obviously like and share. We are getting some new sponsorship here. We're partnered with the Big Tree Inn, Wingnuts Buffalo by the airport on Genesee Street, always 716 Barbershop, and the Lancaster Indoor Bounce House. So shout out to the 4 establishments there. Just had a great meeting and a great day at the Big Tree Inn on Sundays, and we're going to be at the Big Tree Inn every Sunday for the foreseeable future for each and every home game there. All right, now we're going to do a little segment with our intern, Rob Lampka from Buff State. He's come on a few times and do it, and here's a Rob's rant. What's up, Rob?
What's up, fellas? Good to be back again. It's been a few weeks. Thanks for having me, of course.
Yeah, we appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, thank you. So I got 5 minutes. I really want to talk about, to me, the most important thing in this matchup is how the defense plays for us. The Jags offense has been on fire lately. You guys kind of touched on it before the show started about Trevor Lawrence, but to me, the key to the game to win this game is you got to stop the Jags offense. Now, they're 11th in yards per game, 337 a game, but they were 6th in points per game this year, and a lot of that came at the end of the year. This offense is the hottest offense in the entire NFL right now, and I mean that. Trevor Lawrence is absolutely on fire. He is the best quarterback in football right now. He's the hottest quarterback, better than any quarterback in the league, better than the MVP.
He's good looking?
7 games, 22 touchdowns, 4 picks against great competition. He's had 1 pick in the last 6 games. And to me, if the Bills pass rush can't show up again this week, you're losing the game. If Trevor Lawrence has time in the pocket, he's going to absolutely mill this defense down. So, and I also wanted to touch on Jacoby Myers. That trade really changed this offense. You guys probably heard this week McDermott mentioned twice about how much that trade changed this offense for the Jags. It seemed like he was pretty bitter that he's not a Buffalo Bill. So I don't know if there's some rift going on in the front office right now about that, but McDermott did not seem very happy. That makes me think that the Bills are going to target Jacoby Myers this week. I think he's the guy to target in the passing game. Him and Brenton Strange are both really hot right now. And he's had 483 yards since he came over, to the Jaguars. And Trevor Lawrence, if you watched him as a prospect in college, he was really, 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 really good at taking what was given to him. He had T. Higgins. He had a lot of weapons, Hunter Renfrow especially. This is his Hunter Renfrow now. Jacoby Myers is making things super easy over the middle for Trevor Lawrence. And to me, of course, you cannot go into a Bills game without talking about the run defense, 29th in the league, of course. You got to stop Travis Etienne. Travis Etienne is an extremely underrated back, was once seen as a top 5 back in the league. He's probably hovering around top 10 now, but he's back. He's healthy. He had a really great year. He's incredible in the receiving game, great third down back. And also you got to watch out for Bashal Tutin. Now they have a rotation, almost 50-50 snap-wise, but Tutin's a 4-3 guy, and he can jump out the gym, super athletic. I believe he was a 3rd-round pick out of Virginia Tech, and he's another guy you have to worry about. So to me, this game is going to be close. Book it. It's going to be a 20 to 20-something game. I think it's going to be real close, defense-oriented, and time of possession is going to be crazy important for this game. The Bills ranked 1st in time of possession this season, 33 minutes, 8 seconds a game. The Jaguars were ranked, I believe, 4th at 31 minutes a game. So this is going to be a slow burn, back and forth football game. That's all I got, guys.
Appreciate you, brother. That is Rob's rants. Follow Rob. Where can we find you?
At Rob Lampka on Twitter probably would be the best. Instagram as well. ROBLAMPKA. Thanks, guys.
Appreciate you, Rob. All right. Well, we're going to get into our thoughts on the Bills offense and defense quick and get you guys out of here for the Fiesta Bowl. So, Scott, take us away with the offensive preview.
Scott, before you go real quick, I know that you want to rush off to watch the game, but I can't. I can't talk about bad teams and what people have beaten. I don't care who the Patriots beat. I don't care who the Jags beat. Scott alluded to earlier, it's the NFL. If you want to look at teams that the Bills have lost to, go look at the quarterbacks the Bills have lost to this year. Michael Penix, they've lost to Tua Tagovailoa, and Davis Mills. So yes, they can lose to Trevor Lawrence. I'm sick of hearing of who a certain team beat. The Bills themselves have not exactly beaten the greatest teams. Like, they are a good team. This is the NFL, as Scott said. Sorry, I just had to say that because I'm just sick of seeing that said everywhere on Twitter, on the radio, on everywhere. It's the NFL. They need to show up.
See it on the radio?
You can hear it on the radio. Whatever, Scott. You're just rage baiting me now, and it's working because that I'm getting going.
Those guys are on YouTube, though. The radio guys are on YouTube, so now you can see.
Yeah, so you can see them.
Also,
I don't happen to see them. But
in honor of a college football playoff game happening now, I have to point out, Jim, Alabama did not beat Lawrence in the national championship. Trevor Lawrence beat Alabama as a freshman. Kicked the shit out of them, actually.
He did lose a national championship, though, right?
Yeah, to LSU.
Yeah, I was going to say, I knew he lost
to maybe the best team ever constructed. His freshman year, he and Kelly Bryant kicked the shit out of Alabama. I watched it at a Bama bar. CJ Mosley was not happy. But yeah, let's talk about the offense. Also, I'd like to say, Rob, I appreciate your hot take of this game that's a pick-em being close. That was real bold of you to come out and say that. So, but no, great job, Rob. Let's talk about the offense, because we just heard enough about Trevor Lawrence and how he's God's gift to football. So let's talk about Josh Allen. Can't turn the ball over.
I like Josh Allen. He's a pretty good quarterback.
Yeah, he's no Trevor Lawrence, though.
Yeah, maybe not.
But, I mean, the first thing is you just can't turn the ball over. This Jaguars defense reminds me a lot of the Bills defense of last year. They give up yards. They're 11th in yards. They're middle third in a lot of things, but they're second in the league in turnovers. So kind of similar to the Bills last season and most seasons under McDermott, except for this one. Teams are going to move the ball. The Bills are going to move the ball. You just can't turn the ball over. So my biggest key is if we win the turnover battle, we're going to win the game. So what do you guys think about that, or you want to take it to the next key?
Yeah, I think if I could just give my offensive key, I guess, and then you guys can go on with yours. I mean, I think that, like I said earlier, and I'm not trying to steal your thunder, Scott, because I see it as the last bullet, but the offensive line, Deion Dawkins came out and, the Bills got named the best offensive line over the regular season. I don't disagree that they are the best offensive line, but I think they have to absolutely prove it. And that's a great comment. I didn't even know people could comment on Twitch, but thank you. We got the one viewer on Twitch. And
I can't
appreciate you, bro. Like, yeah, like I've been working on. I'm putting the oil in this thing. I've got the pomade. I got everything growing here for this guy. It keeps me warm when I'm outside in the cold here. Ben's got a little stubble there.
You got any tips for how to get the side going here? Let me know.
Yeah, thanks, Lord. I appreciate
that. That was a great comment.
Yeah, we had to pull that up. I stopped me in my tracks as I was rolling, but the offensive line was named the best offensive line in the regular season in the Bills. And I don't disagree that the offensive line is the best, but they're going to have to prove it certainly in the playoffs. Now, I disagree with what Rob said about the defense stopping the Jags being the most important thing. And all respect to everything Rob said there. It was a great little segment, but the Bills offense has to score, plain and simple. If the Bills offense doesn't score, and it's going to be the offensive line dictating the tempo, dictating that James Cook gets these run lanes against the Jaguars. Scott mentioned here, rush defense may not be as good as it seems because they're first in yards, but last in attempts against, right? So the Bills can run the ball on this team. They will. And they just need to exert themselves, exert their will, and lean on these guys. The Bills can't probably beat the Jags without the run game working to some extent, but we're going to see. I think we're going to see a little bit of different things in the passing game. But like Scott said, turnovers are going to be a major factor here. When the Bills have lost, they have turned the ball over at critical times, and you need to avoid that in every game. So it's easy to say that, but I just really think the offensive line is going to have to prove that they're the best, and they're going to have to lean on the Jags defense to make sure this run game has some success in order to beat the Jaguars, because you're going to have to outscore them.
I mean, I'm just going to go off what Scott said a little bit. Yeah, I mean, Scott knows that every week my number one thing is take care of the football. I'll go a different way this week, though. I think that it kind of alludes even to Lance's a little bit. Is O-line has to be good, but the run game has you can't. I know that this run defense is good. I know that they have not had a rusher over 75 yards this year. But
James Cook's over under 80 and a half.
You have to. I think he hits it. I do. I think you have to stick with it. You have to stick with it. And if it doesn't work in the first quarter,
I don't think we win.
Huh?
Exactly.
I said if he does, sorry, I cut you off. If he doesn't hit it, I don't think we win.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. I mean, it's a matter of just like you can't just give them what they want and to have you just be forced to throw the ball. You have to run the ball. This is a strength of your team. You have the leading rusher in the NFL this year. If it doesn't work in the first quarter, you can't abandon it. You got to continue to try. Now, not necessarily saying that they should maybe do it the same way that they've always done if it's not working, where it's just, hey, let's 2nd and 10. Let's still run the ball, even though it didn't work on first down. Not saying that, but you can't go 3 drives with 1 run, or you can't like James Cook has to be involved in the offense. And if it's not getting him the ball in the backfield, it's out of the backfield. Right? Get it in space to him. Just get the ball in James Cook's hands. I guess I'll go more that route. Just go put the ball in James Cook's hands this week. Do it. You can't stray away from it. No matter what, even if Ty Johnson's good to go, you have to have James Cook. Lance talked about it at the end of last year. He talked about it over the offseason. He talked about it every day almost, about James Cook and his love for James Cook. So get James Cook going.
Fantasy football champion because James Cook was picked in the 2nd round.
That's because you're
we also forgot to mention earlier, and I partly blame John for not reminding us. James Cook won the rushing title.
Yeah.
So good for James
John.
Cook.
Look,
that's the thing every week is just take care of the football. And I put it in here. Like, I don't think the Jags rush defense is as good as it seems. We've all seen the stat, like you mentioned, not 1 over 75 yards, but teams just haven't really run on them, especially because they've won, 8 or 9 in a row. And they've been beating the hell out of teams. Like, it's kind of the same thing as the Bills' pass defense. It's 2nd in the league, but they face the least amount of attempts. Like, because teams can run. Generally, when like one is really good, like the like it kind of like seesaws. So I think the Bills are going to be able to run the ball. I know that they've shut down Jonathan Taylor a couple of times, but that was after when Daniel Jones was out and they were losing by a ton and didn't run it. So I think the Bills are going to be able to run the ball. If they take care of the football, if the Bills win the turnover margin, I think they win the game. And yeah, I want to bring up the comment we brought up earlier about a fast start. Bills haven't started quickly this season. I don't know if they're going to be able to do that against the team like the Jaguars. You got to come out, you got to score. If you win the toss, I know all analytics say defer, but maybe take the ball. Get some pressure on Trevor Lawrence. Like, he hasn't played in games like Josh Allen has played in. If you get his heart beating a little bit fast and you get a lead early, that's only going to help you. So if you win the toss, maybe take the ball. And, you have to score if you do that, but put pressure on them, a team that hasn't been there the way the Bills have been there. If they start fast and win the turnover margin, I know it's going to be a good game, but it could be a long day for the Jags because they just haven't been there.
And also random, if you're going to go for it on 4th down, it better be 4th and 1 and a tush push. Otherwise, take your points. Take your 3 points. It's the playoffs, but if not, 4th and 1, 4th and 2.
You don't beat teams with field goals.
Early on, at least.
Right.
Early on in the game, take your points.
Let's talk about that. So the Bills, according to Ben Baldwin, Computer Cowboy on X, 13% touchdown offensive series results, 2nd in the league. And the Jaguars are 11th on their offense with 11%. So look, the Bills are still scoring touchdowns at the highest rate per offensive series in the league, with a 10% punt rate. And then 6% turnovers. So 16% of the time they punt or turn it over. And then 18% of the time they score points. And on 66% of their drives, they get a first down. So they do have to start fast. They do have to make sure that they're going early. The Bills haven't had a huge issue. And I meant to grab the exact number, but it's not on me right now. But they haven't had a huge issue scoring on the first drive of the games. They've had some good opening possessions this year, But once that opening game script goes away, they've got to keep the pressure on and keep going throughout the first half, because they cannot get down 17, 21, 24 to the Jags in the first half of a playoff game and expect to come back. I assume the Bills will be losing by 7 to 10 points at halftime. I assume that, because that's what we've seen all year long. But in the second half, it's got to get turned on and they got to come back and win it. And it's kind of crazy to me to think that there's going to be anything different than what we've seen all year, the way they've gone about these games. So,
Lance, can you stop being negative, please, and not say that we're going to be losing at halftime? No. Yeah, sorry, I don't really have any much more on the offense, but yeah, it's just, yeah,
it's got to go.
Keep going.
Anything more from you on the offense, Scott?
No. Win the turnover battle. Feed James Cook. Play smart. Score points.
Yep. It is it's a beatable. Last thing I'll say, it's definitely a beatable defense, without a doubt. But we can't.
All their corners are banged up too.
But we can't just ignore what they have done and the players they have and the way this defense is played. I mean, I think I heard that they had 4 total turnover takeaways last year, and they had 31 this year. Like, that's a huge jump. These are jumps that teams make. But yeah, get James Cook going. Let James cook, because he will. Out of the defense, though, Bills defense. It's I won't even talk about Trevor Lawrence to start, because I know we've talked about him a lot. But Travis Etienne, we did talk about. Rob talked about him a little bit. That's, I guess, the number one thing for a lot of people is you got to be able to stop the run, right? You got to be able to slow the Jaguars rushing game down. Now, they're not top tier, but they can run the ball well. They can throw. That's the thing, is they're not elite at one thing or the other. They're not elite at passing. They're not elite at
they're middle third in everything.
Yeah.
Except for points. They're top third in that.
So they're
middle of the road team at everything.
Yeah. So they're good. Right, they're good at everything. They're a fundamentally sound team. They do, they've put up some points the past few weeks. I mean, they, like I said, against Denver, a great defense. They put up 40 something. So they are an offense that can do great things. Trevor Lawrence has been playing well, but I think the number one thing for me, and you guys can go after this, but the number one thing for me that they have to do is they have to get Trevor Lawrence rattled, get him. I know it's in their home stadium. There probably will be a good amount of Bills fans there, but either way, whether it's the crowd that gets them rattled or just bringing pressure or whatever it is, early turnover, Scott, as you mentioned, getting an early lead, that can really get him rattled there, even though if I'm not mistaken, Trevor Lawrence had one of the greatest playoff comebacks ever. So that's going to be my key. Make them uncomfortable. Make them one-dimensional. Make them a team that you're either going to say, okay, we're going to force you to throw it and trust our secondary, or if you want to try to outscore Josh Allen by running the football and we'll shut the pass game down, you got to do one or the other, in my opinion. I think it's just shut them down, make them one-dimensional, either make Trevor Lawrence uncomfortable and rattled, or absolutely take Travis Etienne out of the game. What do you got, Scott?
You mentioned the running game. Like I said, the Jags are middle third in pretty much every offensive category, except for points. They score a lot of points. But I'm not crazy worried about them killing us. They're going to move the ball. They're at home. Trevor Lawrence is good. They have 3 really good receivers. So that's honestly what I'm more worried about than Etienne. He's probably going to run the ball okay. But I am worried if the Bills, they do score first. The offense is humming. They have 3 really good receivers, and Strange, who's been awesome at tight end. Parker Washington, who probably, if you went into the season and asked who the leading receiver would be for the Jags, people probably wouldn't even get to him. We'd hear Brian Thomas Jr., Travis Hunter, who's not even playing, by the way, their second overall pick, who's not even playing, and they did all this, which makes it even crazier. Brian Thomas Jr., I know there's a lot of times he looks checked out, he doesn't like to catch balls across the middle, but he can go nuclear every once in a while. He's a big play threat. Strange, like we mentioned, at tight end has been good for them. And Jacoby Myers, who McDermott apparently sounds like he wanted at the trade deadline, has, I don't want to say resurrected his career, because it's not like he was falling off the face of the earth. But he got a 3-year extension there when they already have those 3 other good receivers to add into that mix. So he's made himself a lot of money in Jacksonville the second half of the season. So I know our pass defense is statistically good. I think it's second in the league, but kind of for the same.
Oh, he wants to watch the football game so bad. He's going to make himself glitch out to get off.
He's actually not
Yeah, that is
frozen right now. He's just not moving and trying to get out of. Oh, there he is.
Oh, there he is.
Am I back?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, well, whatever. The same rate. I don't know where I cut off, but I'm worried about their 3 receivers and their tight end. Our pass defense is good on paper, but maybe not as good as it seems on the field. We're going to have to contain them. And like I said, Trevor Lawrence is fine. I don't think he's going to beat us by himself, but we have to make it difficult for him. Make him.
Yep. All right. Well, he tried twice and froze twice, but we almost got it all out. And basically, I'm going to disagree. I'm not concerned about the Jags offense. They're going to score their points. The Bills defense is good enough to slow them down to a degree. And really, the key to the game is going to come down to getting off the field on third down, as I have highlighted here, and Scott so generously gifted me from the outline. 19th in third down offense for the Jags. The Bills defense has obviously been ridiculously terrible at getting off the field on third down, like to a hilarious degree of where they're giving up 3rd and 12s at like a regular clip. And it's got to change here. They've got to figure out something on third down and 8 or longer to get off the field. And they haven't really found a great formula for that, but I hope that they do. At this point, you just got to kind of hope that they do. And the Bills defense has given up a touchdown on 10% of the series and a field goal on 7% of the series this season. They have 8% or 7% turnovers, according to the Computer Cowboy Ben Baldwin account and the graph they put up. So they're going to need to get a turnover. They're going to need to get off the field on third downs, and I think they will. I'm more concerned. Like in the playoffs, the offense has to score points, and that's been the issue for the Bills as of late, is getting the points on the board to win. They should have scored enough points to beat Philadelphia when they were held to 13, and they just missed on a 2-point conversion at the end. They needed to score some more points, and basically every one of their losses wasn't all on the offense in every game. But when push comes to shove, your offense really has to go outscore the other team. And I think the playoffs really puts a magnifying glass on that. And you really have to lean on your offense. And it's going to be Josh Allen doing Josh Allen things all day. And if the offense can score 35 to 45 points, then the Bills are going to win this game. And I think that's easy to say with a lot of games. Like if your team can score 35 to 45 points, you have a good shot. But it's just they're gonna need to for this game. I don't see any other way to beat the Jaguars, who Rob noted are the hottest team in the league, and Trevor Lawrence is the best, and this and that. The defense can do its thing. The defense is going to get some stuff, but I think you really have to get off the field on third down, like I mentioned, and you just gotta go score against them, because they're gonna get theirs, and the only way to beat them is to outscore them, as they say.
From the show that brought you, this pick'em is going to be a close one. We bring you, if the Bills scored more points in their losses, they would have gone better.
Exactly. And if they score more points than the Jaguars this week, they will win the game.
Groundbreaking stuff. Groundbreaking.
Yeah, this is why the folks come and listen.
But
you're not
I agree.
getting hard stuff like this out there.
Fast start is going to be critical to the Bills doing that. In order to score the points needed, they're going to have to score in the first half as well as the second. So, all right, game predictions. Drop your game prediction. You guys have any more on the Bills' defensive keys, or you want to talk about anything else on that front? All right, cool. So, game predictions, guys. Drop your game predictions in the comments. I think Rob gave his on his segment was going to be a close one in the mid 20s, 21 or 27-24, something like that. Ben Shoop, what is your game prediction? Please tell me.
I don't have a score. I have two scenarios. It's either going to be a Bills double-digit plus win, or the Bills lose again in the most heartbreaking of possible ways that we didn't think of yet, that we haven't seen yet. One of those two things is going to happen. They're not going to get blown out. It's not going to be a close Bills win. It's either going to be the Bills handle business and say, we don't care what you've done this year, Jacksonville, or it's going to be another heartbreak for us Bills fans.
Odds are they're just your basic white cotton, but what if it's really something really cool, something I really never even heard of before? That's basically what Ben just said.
I thought he was going to say it's either going to be a Bills win or a Bills loss. That would have been the kind of hard-hitting insight we've been given tonight. I'm going to go Bills win 31-28. Game-winning field goal by insert kicker here. I think it's going to be a close one, obviously. It's a pick-em. It's going to be a good game. Josh Allen, we didn't mention this. He hasn't played in a ton of them, but hasn't won a road playoff game. He's only played in Kansas City and Houston that one time in his second year. So, like I said, he hadn't played. I think this will be his, fifth road playoff game? 0-4.
Everyone knows where they were for that Houston game, I think. I was at the beginning, too, in Syracuse.
I was at the Houston game. So
Nice.
I've been at I'll also be in Jacksonville this weekend. So if anybody here is going to be in Jacksonville, hit me up. We'll grab some beers before the game.
Fans of Buffalo tailgate. So the fans of Buffalo are doing a great charter trip down there. If you want to get a charter flight, full package, you can get tickets to the game, a hotel stay for a pretty reasonable price, under $2,000 for the full thing, all the transit and hotel that you need, as well as a game ticket and an all-inclusive tailgate. So check out fansofbuffalo.com for that. And Scott will be at the tailgate for Fans of Buffalo. So he'll be sending us video and all the cool stuff that's happening there, as I have to sit this one out and rest up for next week and hope to be able to make whatever city they play in next week.
Also be on the lookout for any of the, it's just random, but be on the lookout. The Bills are going to be selling the troughs from the game. So if anybody's interested in that, I know Scott. Yeah, there you go, Scott. I know Scott is. Yeah, Scott's in on that one. But this just saw the article from I'm blanking on who I just saw from, but Ryan Talbot. Ryan Talbot. Shout out Ryan Talbot. Go check out his Twitter. He has a whole thing on it. But yeah, if you're interested in the troughs, be on the lookout.
And my score prediction is going to be the Bills 42, the Jaguars 38. You got to outscore them. The Jags are going to score 30 plus points. I have no doubts about that. And they've just been too hot not to. The Bills are going to have to score probably 40 points to beat them. And I predict 42-38 Bills win. That's our show for tonight here. We're going to be back next week, regardless of the result, obviously, and for the weeks leading up to throughout the playoffs and Super Bowl, and for the many weeks after that as well, all the way through draft season and all that sort of thing. So be here each and every week on Thursday night at 7 p.m. Sponsored by Big Tree Inn, Wingnuts Buffalo, 7-1 Slicks, and Lancaster Indoor Bounce House. Go Bills.
Go Bills.
Go Bills.